Okay, alright, let me lower the song. Alright, so this video is mostly for Royal Roy and the other potential allies in Season 2 because things blew up in server 322. So yeah, I'm Latom, the main warlord for Smurfs. Alright, so to summarize everything from the start, I originally started with WOFV under what's his name? Sinister. He was the leader and he was going to make a lot of mistakes. And also I've discovered that the leaders for Smurf back then were Filipino, aka Bloom and Death, and a bunch of friendly people in Smurfs were just better to talk to and have a better vision for the game. My background for this game, as I've told everyone, is that I spent 3 years playing Rise of Kingdoms. 2 years of them was a king, so I know how alliances work. I know how to make alliances play together. I know how to destroy alliances, everything. It's almost the same mechanic, except here in this game, you can't just put a alliance center or hop with flags to just basically destroy them. So that's the start. I ended up moving to RSMF. We took the bear, the giant, and all that stuff. And then Smurfs lost their main whales, which is Bloom and Death, because they went back to um, playing in their main kingdom. I've never wanted to spend more than probably 300 or 200 a month because I'm not sure about how this game is. But the longer I played with people that became my friends, the longer I understood that now that the whales are gone, we need brand new spenders to help take behemoths and also to help win wars. Fast forward a little bit, I've spoke with Alfie and Alfie saw my experiences and maybe who knows because I was a spender, they've offered me an R4 spot. At first I didn't want to because I just wanted to relax and I'm tired of managing people. But from what it seems like, there were just a lot of R4s back then that did not know how to be officers at all. A lot of issues with 322 is that most of the alliances had their own people that would rather remain as a leader than to bow down to whoever is winning. The first war happened around Zoland area where SMK and OWLTR were fighting, and given that SMK was the second alliance for um, Smurfs at that time, they ended up defending each other. Um, so the first alliance that collapsed was the alliances from Zolan, which is OWLTR, which was led by Alpha. And then from there, Alpha went into a different alliance. And the next war was between Smurfs and UD and KO because most of the people from Zoland went there because it's a little bit close. War lasted a little bit, about a week, and then we realized that within KO and UD there were warriors who were just playing the game how it is. So as soon as KO and UD got defeated, we invited them to RSMF and LSMF. So that made RSMF and LSMF a little bit stronger. And from there, the only single alliances that were Smurfs and PLN and CYS, WOFV, WOFH. So the numbers were pretty imbalanced because I would say KO and UD had a lot of active players that likes to fight wars, and the same thing with OWLTR. A lot of them quit because they didn't want to join Smurfs, but a lot of them also just started to join us in a vision where we wanted to unite one single strong alliance, possibly two, because in wars, no matter how strong you are, or no matter how much spenders you have, if you don't have any um, active people, then you're just not gonna win. You're just never gonna win. Zone 2 opens since most of LSMF and also RSMF are coming from Forgotten Lands. So it was destined that at first we would probably share a guru and Lorcan, but what happened is that only RSMF went to a guru and also gave a little bit of a pathway for KO and UD to come in so they can join us. And at that time is where Aya, the leader of um, LSMF, joined RSMF, I believe. Um, we had issues where we were in Zone 2 for RSMF, and we didn't have enough members for behemoths, and most of the players are just more interested in farming, which had us a little bit worried because at that time WOFV and WOFH had a lot of members, and we did end up having a war in Lorcan, WOFV, WOFH versus LSMF and RSMF, and also DSMF. So around that time span, DSMF was created because most of the people are putting their farms in LSMF, which we did not like because it's going to ruin the spaces that we need for active players that couldn't fit into RSMF. And also, like I said, around that time span, most of the leaders from LSMF were pulled into RSMF so we would have a better chance of killing behemoths. And also, it just didn't make sense for us to keep on trying to
Oh,
entertain useless people here in RSMF. And then that was also the time slot where Koala rised because he became friends with Aya. And that was also when we realized that Koala has his own agenda. Um, at that time, Aya was probably the first victim of Koala because they became good friends. Aya put him as R4, and fast forward a little bit when we needed the R5s or R4s of LSMF, Koala was just not a good match. He thinks very differently from the main R5s of RSMF, and the main R5s of RSMF that time was Alfie, me, Nono, Batosai, and Duke. And the rest of the other R4s there were just listening to whatever we say. And there were a lot of instances that Koala did not want to listen, even though it's agreed upon that we will function as one, but he has his own idea of having LSMF do their own thing. Fast forward a little bit more, that's when Rhinox came in and we forced Koala to go out. So Koala ended up leading DSMF with his other friend. I forgot his name. So now Rhinox and Lazarus and Aya are controlling LSMF with their alts, and everything was good until there were players like Yoda and Rotsala who were being homophobic. They would always try to taunt people in Tamaris. They've always acted like victims because we removed that person from RSMF for just simply not helping. They're gaining rewards. They're not helping in wars. We had major wars in Forgotten Island, Lorcan. Um, they they're just not helping. But in their mind, they're victims. But it also shows how much war they did when they were sitting for less than 120k merits for quite some time when we had weeks of wars. And they failed to realize that themselves. So they became friends with Koala. Um, in goes Koala, and the only other event that Koala did, since he was still in our R4 chat, we've always wondered who is the spy giving information with MW and any other alliances. And the only smart deduction would be Koala, Rhinox, and that's about it because they were the only ones who has access into our private chats in Discord and also in the game itself. Um, there ca- there was a point where everyone has decided that we will no longer share plans in where Koala and Rhinox will have like an idea of what we want to do, especially going to war with WOFV. They simply just rely on bookmarks of showing what time we will attack, what time we plan to attack. They're just giving screenshots. And also the most important thing before everything or before I forget, Loki had a plot with Alfie and me. I should have said this first, but Loki wanted to make the season fun and at the end join us. So that's the weird part of where either he's just trying to make us not destroy WFV and give them Zone 3 access, because my plan at that time, when they went to war with us in Lorcan, is that I will use Lorcan and invade them inside Nuvola. And it was this pass and this pass that we were trying to do so that we wouldn't have to wait until Zone 3 opens to fight WFV. And apparently his reasoning was he doesn't want us to get the pass because one, he's probably afraid of us invading, and Koala was giving out these plans that we want this pass to invade them in Novola. But if we are quote unquote in wars, it doesn't matter where we go. So those are the instances that we've realized, well, I have realized that Koala is working closely with other alliances and is just being a rat. And when we spoke to Loki, we asked him why he doesn't want us to get these two passes. All he said was he doesn't want people from WOFV to end up joining RSMF once we have that pass and the Bears close to it, which we didn't understand too, because if we were supposed to be allies in the end, why doesn't he want people to join us? And if they were planning to join Smurfs anyways, when Zone 3 opens, why not just now? So we went to war for that in Lorcan. They lost by a lot, and a lot of their members started joining Smurfs anyways. And we figured out from screenshots that Koala was the one giving them information. So from since then, I've wanted to zero Koala always, but he ended up getting friends that are protecting him, and that they would rather leave the alliance than to see me and the other people zero a traitor. Fast forward a little bit, Koala laid low in DSMF around Daralan area. More people joined RSMF because clearly we're strong. I believe we went to 1 billion power before every other players from different alliances joined us. Rhinox and Aya were leading LSMF. Everything was good. Rhinox at that time was very responsive, although he would butt heads with other R4s and only wanted to listen to Alfie and Bato. Um, Most of us shrugged it off, but then the Zone 3 war happened. WFV and WOFH versus Smurfs. Um, it didn't last a week, so everyone joined Smurfs. We've gotten every single player as much as we can to fit in RSMF, and those who couldn't fit were sent to LSMF. And now we're all in Zone 3. Um, there were issues where LSMF wasn't strong enough to actually take a bunch of behemoths like Dire Bear and Necro and Magma, so we had to come help them. In fact, we also helped them with Hydras because they didn't have enough powers with it to like just, you know, kill it themselves. We've helped them as much as we can, and it just ends up that the leadership up in LSMF were not even on for the Behemoth raids itself. So it was hard for us to get inside LSMF because no one was there to kick people. No one was there to actually just take care of the alliance itself. So I personally got frustrated with Rhinox. People got frustrated with Rhinox because he is always offline. And when he's online, he just comes in, doesn't even read everything in Discord or our R4 chat. So you're just not meant to be a leader at that point. You have to be always online, and you also have to always make time as a leader. But no, he still wanted to stay as a leader. And as a matter of fact, when we were butting heads, a lot of people wanted to just zero Rhinox because we're sick and tired of him. But Batosai and Nono were just like, I don't know, maybe they became good friends with Rhinox. But that's the whole issue where it started. Rhinox started collabing with Koala. We got mad about it when we saw that Koala was back in LSMF, especially in an R4 role, so we asked them to remove him. Rhinox removed Koala. Fast forward a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, I'm not entirely sure. We thought everything was good. We just had to deal with Rhinox being inactive. Um, didn't really pay too much attention for it, but then we've noticed slowly that Koala and Rhinox are collaborating together again with Rotsala and Yoda, and slept on it, just not overthinking about it. And then next thing we know, Rhinox put the wrong people again in R4 RSM R4s for LSMF. It was Roots of War a couple days ago. Um, Lazarus was helping set up RSMF and LSMF members for Roots of War, and there was an argument about why LSMF officers are not upgrading technologies for LSMF. The reasoning for that, the LSMF officer Rotsala said that it's end of season, we don't need to do alliance techs anymore. We also don't need to do much because season 2 is coming, blah 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 blah. But when I saw that and Lazarus saw that, we did not like it because people still want to do contributions so that you may get alliance credits and you can get speed ups and all that stuff. And then insert the time or insert that time Yoda and Rotsala just started going back and forth arguments with Lazarus. I didn't pay too much attention to it until Yoda and Rotsala started using homophobic terms or homophobic rewards against Lazarus, which I don't like seeing players do that. Like, I don't care who you are. It's a game, yes, you might be enemies, but don't go too much into personal attacks. So, what happened was we burned him, and he kept hiding into LSMF territories. And since he is an R4, we could not remove him even though we had an R4 spot. So we messaged Rhinox. We were like, hey, Rotsala and Yoda is doing this and that. They are removing people. And also, we can't just simply remove them and be done with it. And those two people were just being a bunch of, I don't know, this discrimination was just a part of their game. They would always do that in Tamaris. They would always tease and mock and taunt people that are not friends with them, and that's why a lot of people were mad at them, especially me. Um, a day passed by, Rhinox did not read Discord and the R4 chat. So around maybe the second or third day, that's when Rhinox finally logs in. We told him what happened, but instead of just honestly removing the wrong people in the R4 role, he ended up arguing with us. And he also said that we are evil for zeroing someone with a lower power, but that someone was constantly, not constantly, but they always discriminate um gay people. Okay? I'll just be straight up with it. I don't know if it's their culture or their way of thinking, but discrimination is like, in my opinion, like really bad. We're gonna go into season 2 and you're gonna see an officer who discriminates and makes fun of gay people, and it's gonna cause more issues in season 2. So I've told that to the other R4s, my concern about Rhinox defending the wrong people over and over again just because they are his friends. And no one really listened. They just think that I was being a hothead at that time, which maybe I was a hothead because I don't want players like that to play with us and also possibly ruin brand new friendships in season 2 because of just how they are. And also, we don't want someone like Rhinox to be the leader of LSMF for season 2 if he is always offline and choosing the wrong people to protect. That's like a whole different issue. And no one really listened. Me and Lazarus, we've always warned the leadership about Koala and also Rhinox and the issues that they bring, but they brushed it off. Maybe because some of them are friends with Koala, and Koala has a way of talking to people, making them think that whatever lies he is saying is the actual truth. And just like right now, um, Koala is claiming a lot of things that we didn't give them rewards, but you can see he has a dragon frame, him and his friends, and also a lot of people from WOFV were given dragon rewards. There was even an instance in the alliance that we were trying to do the normal dragon when it first came out at 04 UTC, and none of the RSMF was on. We were stuck at 40 to 50 members for quite some time that we would had to invite people from the outside so that we can um, kill the dragon. And I think that's one of the things that made a lot of people mad at me was because I removed people who I never saw in wars, who are just always farming, not helping with behemoths. And I was like, they don't need dragon rewards. Why do they need dragon rewards when there are people outside the alliance that is willing to help defeat the dragon so that they could also get rewards? And maybe these people would want to join RSMF in season 2 because they see that we're kind. So that's the whole other issues why probably a lot of people hated me was because if you don't work hard for the alliance, I don't want you in my alliance. If me and a dozen people are willing to lose sleep or trying to sneak in to play in their job's bathroom, then you should at least meet us halfway. But if you're not willing to do that, you have no place in RSMF. And that's why a lot of people were removed in RSMF and they got mad at me. And those people ended up being under Koala and Rhinox to form their own little alliance in LSMF and continue plotting against us for season 2 because they want us to fail. So that's like basically what happened. And with the Rhinox thing, it's like the seventh or eighth day now. He is not responding. He he said yesterday actually that he will give the alliance back, but he wants us to give him WOFV, which is not even our alliance. That is Loki's alliance. And I just simply think that Loki said no because he doesn't want to give his own alliance, and Loki went back to WOFV now alongside with his other people. And everything just honestly made me mad because these could have been prevented if the other leadership just listened to Horus, listened to Lazarus, listened to me, listened to every single person telling them that Koala has been plotting a lot of things and that Rhinox is in his side, but they just decided to like brush it off personally and they still kept talking with Koala because I don't know, maybe they're friends. And it came to a point where I was like, I am not gonna play for an alliance who are going to entertain homophobic people or people who discriminates people, and also I am not gonna play with R4s who wants to protect R4s that are not competent enough. So what I did was, alright, fine. You guys don't wanna fix it. We've been going around here for 7 days, talking to Rhinox about it, but he's just not simply gonna give that alliance away because that's where Koala and his lackeys are gonna stay, and that's where they've been harboring players to manipulate them that we're just bad people, but we're honestly not. And more of this in 322 was a bunch of people who just wants to have their own alliances and their own agendas, and they don't want to see eye to eye with us. Um, but in the end, we proved it to them that if you stay together, you can beat everyone. We've won the wars really without Roy having T5. Roy didn't have T5 until like past three opening or close to past three opening. But we've won it because we just had numbers. They had T4s, we had T4s, their whale BBT is quit. So, yeah. I mean, everything could have been prevented if the other R4s just believed me and Lazarus. And half of me right now is just like, yeah, I understand. I could have honestly just kept on trying to talk to the other R4s and not get so mad. But it also, I feel like I'm betrayed, you know? It's like, me and my friends worked hard for this alliance to be successful, and the moment that we say, this guy's fishy, like, here are the evidence, here's the screenshots, he's the spy, and he is collaborating with this person, and no, they just kept brushing it off because they say Rhinox is a kind soul, which he might be. The old man has a kind soul, but the case that I'm thinking right now is that Koala was just able to manipulate that kind soul and use that avenue for them to have LSMF and a bunch of members, and they've also sent out mails that Alfie is the manipulator, Latom and Lazarus is the manipulator, which is what usually people who manipulates say. So, yeah, I pretty much summed up everything. Um, the reasons for why I looked out for other alliances to play for was just because I felt invalidated with my other fellow R4s just because they were putting their friendship with Rhinox more than a flat out evidence that these guys are plotting against us. So, yeah. Um, a lot of shit happened, mostly my fault too, I guess, and I admit to that, but I am just not personally interested in playing with people like that. So yeah, if I missed anything, go ahead and just message me. I could probably explain it much more better. This is just a one take video, but peace out and good luck on season 2.